Hey guys, Dov here with another multiplayer battle for Total War Warhammer 2. A while ago, I mean we're talking like probably a year and a half ago, I made a video about the top 5 worst monsters in Total War Warhammer 2, and what would you know, since then almost all of those monsters have been buffed in some way or another, or I changed my mind on at least one of them. Almost all of them have been buffed though, except for this guy right here. The Skaven Warlord's Mount Bonebreaker, which is the only way you can take a Bonebreaker. There's no, like, single entity, like, solo Bonebreaker, which, by the way, I think would be super cool. Something like 1100 points, similar to a Tomb Scorpion kind of in functionality. But anyway, the Lord here on the Bonebreaker, let's quickly pause as this battle's about to get underway. What does he offer? Let's quickly just remind ourselves, because you pretty much never see this guy. He's got Frenzy, decent AP, not the best stats in the world, actually kind of poor. 70 armor's okay, 54 charge with Frenzy active is not bad, but 4300 HP is not great. I mean, that's like below Scarsnake, kind of on par with like Grimgore, I think, so not the best in that aspect. He does have some decent items. This -5 melee attack here gives himself 60 armor one-time use with that World's Edge armor, Verminous Valor, of course, and Deadly Onslaught. Yeah, we're going to synergize him with a an assassin rather, for the leadership, or sorry, the debuff on leadership units, right? The Assassin's Trophy. We've also got an Eschrin Sorcerer to throw stars, and Armor of Darkness, which I should have definitely cast right here, as I'm going to get filled with Skink Javelins, but I probably forget about that. Clan Vulcan's Tail Slashers, Council Guard, a whole bunch of other clan rats here. We've got Mortars. Natty Boobos taking a couple pot shots at this Soros Oldblood here, but I'm up against Dutch Skink, and he's got a ton of Feral Cold Ones here, Clever Girls, which I actually really like against the Skaven. You don't see these gals too much, but in this particular matchup, they're almost like a fire and forget unit that you can use to take out weapons teams. I mean, similar-ish in use to a Bloated Corpse, not exactly, but kind of the same idea in that you just need to get one good charge with these guys, and they're going to basically pay for themselves very quickly. But yeah, the mortar's firing in here. I'm going to try and just spread my fire around. It's not the best value to actually be shooting at these guys, and I'm going to hit my Council Guard pretty consistently throughout the course of the battle, so that's not great. I've also got 4 Rat Ogres here, so I'm going to use their mass to kind of respond to these Horned Ones and Cold One Riders pushing through on this flank. Definitely going to have a hard time protecting my weapons teams over here. A couple of Feral Cold Ones getting some nice rear charges on some Clan Rats, collapsing a few various units. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to protect my weapon teams like I said, but we do get a nice Armor of Darkness here. Throw some extra armor and missile resistance, up to 90 armor on those Rat Ogres. And yeah, Warlord himself goes up to 130, 80 armor on the Assassin there. So that spell, I guess this isn't quite a fully, Molder-themed list. Like, I would have had to take at least one Hell Pit to make this a fully Molder-themed list, but we're not that far off. And that Armor of Darkness spell for those Molder units, definitely very powerful. We'll take a nice, wide, panning cinematic shot here as the Bonebreaker comes in with the Council Guard to fight some of these Clever Girls in the center. Looks like, did we get the Rivalhide Talisman popping off there? Looks like we did. The Assassin's going to run back over here. We've also got the Assassin's Trophy. We're going to try and take out this Soros Oldblood on his, yeah, on his Cold One. I believe he's on a Cold One, maybe on a Horned One. Let's see. Hard to tell. Not trying to say that all lizards look the same. Not trying to say that at all. But anyway, yeah, just continuing to friendly fire my Council Guard there like an absolute pro. I do have a few Clan Rats and Skaven Slave Spears that I guess came back from routing over here. Going to get tangled up with a bunch of skinks way out in the periphery there. Able to rout away some skinks there. So just a very pitched engagement on both sides. Yeah, Lore of Beast there with the Manticore summons. I haven't actually seen the Manticore summons pop up yet, but perhaps saving them for the late game. There's still plenty of skink cohort here. This Eschrin Sorcerer as well can kind of throw stars. And one more time, we're going to go for that Armor of Darkness upgraded. Get that increased effect area just to make sure we get all those units there. Even though a lot of these Lizardmen units have armor piercing, like even just the skinks and like for example the skink chief bros, if they were to come over here and start kind of picking away with Overwatch fire, that extra missile resistance as well would be quite nice. So yeah, we'll keep it nice and close. Bonebreaker slugging it out. I do like the model and the animations of the Bonebreaker quite a bit. It's a little bit sad that it's so poor. There's a few different things they could do to try and buff it, honestly. I think one of the biggest things would just be to give it more HP. Like, a monster mount needs to have more HP than foot characters. Maybe not Grimgor. I mean, Grimgor is an absolute unit. He should probably have more HP in and of himself, though. That's kind of a separate discussion. But, ooh, going for the big Verminous Valor there. And I believe that was actually the Saurus Oldblood that he just finished off there. So, yeah, Manticore Summon comes in maybe a tad bit too late there as the balance of power just barely shifts there. It had been basically dead even up until that point. But we're also able to get a few routes with the Rat Ogres here, kind of start shattering some of these mobile units. You can see a bunch of the Skinks just kind of chain route there. And yeah, even the Manticore gets routed because of its low leadership, so kind of a bit of a disaster situation there once the Saurus Oldblood was taken out, which is kind of why I was going so heavily after him in melee there. Manticore is going to come back from route while getting hit by these Ninja Stars, which is just amazing. But yeah, I think we'll have the tools to deal with it. The Bonebreaker here going to be chasing down this Skink Priest, of course, with the Eshin Assassin there. Eshin Sorcerer going to stay close with the Council Guard, try and protect these Poisonwind Mortars. I'm very surprised I've been able to keep these guys online throughout the course of battle. Still got 6 of them. I mean, granted, definitely killed a lot of these Council Guards, so you know as soon as this battle's over that, yeah, it's not going to end well maybe for this particular mortar crew, let's just say. I can imagine this Council Guard just turning on them, quite literally, like, just turning around and turning on them right now. That seems like a pretty Skaven thing to do. Anyway, hopefully you guys enjoyed watching that one. It's definitely a fun one. Not builds you see super often on both sides, but I think the Bonebreaker, with just a little bit of love, it actually could be a pretty viable option for the Skaven for kind of a brawler type lord. It just doesn't have enough HP, gets terrified too easily, and the combat stats are okay, but they're just not really that great. I mean, granted, it's pretty cheap. I do have to give it that compared to a lot of other monster mounts. So really, I shouldn't necessarily be comparing it one-to-one, but still. We'll talk more about that in just a second. Rat Ogres did pretty well. Definitely a staple of Skaven play. Council Guard, 110 kills. Like these guys quite a bit as well. Tail Slashers and 87 kills on regular Clan Rats. Able to carve up some Skinks, and holy Skinks, we've got a lot of them. Yeah, the Feral Cold ones, you can see a couple of them didn't get that great of kills, but a couple of them got really nice kills. And as I said, even just getting like one weapon team with these clever girls can be pretty effective. So, I mean, against the Skaven, kind of that mass cavalry is good for a lot of different factions, right? And the Lizardmen can't really... They can do that somewhat, but the Feral Cold ones just allows you to do that even that much wider, right? Or to have a few little extra options come in and get on some of those high-value, kind of squishy ranged units. But anyway... Yeah, pretty fun stuff. Ended up being pretty close there, mostly just because the Warlord is so squishy on that Bonebreaker. So let's go ahead and just kind of have a comparison. Quickly talk about some things here with the Warlord. Yeah, I mean, all kitted out, all said and done with everything, he's, what, 1,600 points? So it's not too bad. That being said, I mean, you can take, like, a proper monster lord that has terror, kind of, on a Doom Wheel in Ikit Claw or the Warlock Master, right? And granted, this is quite a bit more expensive, but you do get your caster and lord in one. It does have less HP, actually, than the Bonebreaker, slightly, but you do have a little bit more armor, and obviously the terror of the Doom Wheel, the mobility of the Doom Wheel, the escapability of the Doom Wheel. Because it's a chariot, you can often disengage from engagements because of your really high mass. I mean, the Verminous Valor kind of lets you do that with the Warlord. The Bonebreaker has decent mass, but it's not that great. And especially because you don't cause terror, you will get terrified very easily. You're just a Skaven with not that great a leadership, 60 leadership. It's really not amazing for Lord, to be honest. So... yeah, I mean, that's just kind of Skaven for you at the end of the day, but, again, maybe a little bit of an HP buff would help this guy stand out in those brawler-type situations. The weapon strength is okay. You don't really have any, I mean, besides the Hell Pit, right? The Hell Pit's definitely a lot heavier of a hitter, a lot slower, too, but, yeah, I don't know. be honest. I'd be curious to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments down below. What do you think they could do with the Bonebreaker to try and make it a little bit more of an enticing option? Because right now it's just it's really not amazing in my opinion. Maybe you just give it a little bit better combat stats, maybe you increase its HP a little bit more, maybe some combination of all of that. I'm not really sure. Maybe you would have to increase the price at that point, but I don't know. There's not really like a comparable. I can't really think of a good comparable mount to compare it to, because most mounts, for example, like dragons obviously are all going to be more powerful, like griffins are even more powerful, right? So yeah, they're more expensive as well. So I'm not really sure. There's not really like a really good comparison, I guess. What horned ones are? Yeah, only 400. So it's just kind of a weird like place in terms of power level and cost. It's kind of this weird in between place where it's not really a full monster because it doesn't cause terror. Like it really doesn't have as much mass as a lot of full monsters. It's almost like I said, like a Tomb Scorpion Lord that doesn't cause terror. I don't know. Maybe they just add terror to the Bonebreaker. What do you guys think of that? I don't know. I'm kind of at a loss for the time being, but for now, I think the Bonebreaker is one that you'll see limited primarily just to campaign when you have warlords recruited into your campaign. And even then, I mean, you have the Warlock Masters. They're oftentimes better choices anyway. So that's the end of that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed watching. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.